name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. We'll start with the Tarnim.
create in me a new vessel that is pleasing before your eyes. Oh, you great potter, I am like a clay in your hands. Come create in me a new vessel that is pleasing before your eyes. I give myself to you freely, to your fingers that fashion me. I will not fear nor relent. I long for your work in me. I give myself to you freely, to your fingers that fashion me. I will not grieve nor relent. I long for your work in me. Oh, you, oh, great potter, I am like a clay in your hands. Come create in me a new vessel that is pleasing before your eyes. Oh, you, oh, great potter, I am like a clay in your hands. Come create in me a new vessel that is pleasing before your eyes. I come to you with all my vices. I trust in your grace and your hands. My heart now I devote to you, not to my despair nor my past. I come to you with all my vices. I trust in your grace and your hands. My heart now I devote to you, not nor my despair nor my past. Oh, you, oh, great potter, I am like a clay in your hands. Come create in me a new vessel that is pleasing before your eyes. Oh, you, oh, great potter, I am like a clay in your hands. Come create in me a new vessel that is pleasing before your eyes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to introduce our guest speaker today, Ms. Caroline Sakla. For those of you who may not know Ms. Caroline, she is the principal for St. Clement. Help me out with the name. Academy. St. Clement Orthodox Christian Academy, something. She's here with us tonight to talk to us about the parents' role and helping with the education. We hope that we'll have her come back for more interesting topics. She's a long-time educator. She has a lot of experience in the private and public schools, and of course, she has a lot to offer. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Sakla.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to go ahead and mirror my screen. So as Ms. Mona was saying, I'm a principal at St. Clement Orthodox Christian Academy, and I found that a topic that I was trying to think what would be best, and I thought maybe I could focus on what I actually talk to parents about during enrollment, and what I expect of parents as partners to us in the classroom and us at school. How is it that we could do a great job at school if we don't have great partners at home? So what does that look like? What is our expectation? And if I had a dream parent coming through our door, to support our students, what would that look like? What is our expectation as educators? So I figured I would share some of those tidbits with you, what I would prefer parents do at home so that we have an easier, not trying to have our job be easy, but in order for us to be on the same page so we can support your child that's at school. So let's talk about that. So we all know that schools form minds, but we believe that the habits are actually formed at home. So in order for us to have minds and habits formed, it has to have a strong partnership with the school and parents. Believe it or not, when we have any discipline issues at school, whether it's behaviorally or even academically, if there's discipline issues that start arising, there almost always is a root cause that is happening at home. And you might not be aware of that, but the root causes are usually at home. So we start asking questions. We start asking questions about basic things. You might be surprised, but a lot of the problems might be fixed through very basic expectations from the home that we can't interfere with. So sleep, screens, structure, tone of authority, and how they see authority. That's something that no matter how good the school is, if that's not happening at home, we're gonna struggle. So some of the things that you could do to support at home, believe it or not, but in order for a student to be successful academically, reading has to be part of their life. And I don't know how you grew up, but when I grew up, it wasn't very common for reading to be part of the home, whether it's to little kids, to read to them, or have books all around accessible so you could just grab a book and read. There wasn't like quiet time that was set in our home, but this is something that's very normal for us and our generation to do as parents to our students. So I can tell you the highest achieving students in our school are readers. And I'm not talking about readers as in they do their homework and they read school materials. No, they read at home. They have a book that is unrelated to the school content, and they're reading during recess. They're reading in the car. They're reading on the weekends for fun. So how can you as a parent support that? Because you might say, well, the school doesn't send enough books home. It doesn't matter how many books we send home. Your child will not develop that sense of joy for reading if that's not the norm at home. Are they seeing you grab books? Are they having access to books at home? Do they go to the library for fun? Do they even know that there's a public library that they can go and search for books and grab books like they go to the grocery store, to the candy store, to shop for their clothes? Books should be part of their day-to-day fun activity. It should be seen as not a chore. So the ones that see reading as a burden, their academics struggle in every subject, actually, because it's a struggle to enjoy social studies if reading is not fun for you. So think about that. So you can, like I said, just reading to them when they're young, but if you're like, my kids are already older, okay, well, having physical books or letting them see you reading, and then creating a time at home where it's not cluttered with activities. Are they even able to read, or is their schedule so jam-packed when would they read? So that's something that you want to ask yourself. What kind of schedule are you providing for them? What kind of access to distractions, whether it's screens, whether it's toys even, what they're gonna grab is it's available, right? So ask yourself that. So think about the spaces in your home and if you make reading a priority. The other thing we ask parents during parent meetings for enrollment is actually like something as simple as sleep. I ask, what is your family bedtime? And I do that to middle school kids. I ask them, I ask their parents, do your kids have a bedtime? And they laugh. And I said, it wasn't a joke. I am genuinely serious. Your kid should have a bedtime. It doesn't matter how old they are. But if your kid is sleeping at midnight and then you're wondering why they're not performing at school, it's directly related to the sleep, because chances are their core subject areas are the first period or second period. They're not even awake by then. You know, they're half asleep, and they're probably the least disruptive to the classroom, but they're not actually paying attention because they didn't get enough sleep. So if you're wondering, well, you know, I can't get my kid to go to sleep, I'm going to come on you a little hard, because I'm going to ask you, well, does your kid have a phone in the bedroom? Does your kid have a screen in the bedroom? Well, yeah, I too, as an adult, can't go to sleep if my phone is right there pinging and I'm distracted. So it is your responsibility, no matter what age your child is, if they're under your roof, you are in control of their screen access. So sleep is huge. That I asked that question, and I think genuinely for a group of Arabs or Egyptians, sleep is not a priority. I think I was visiting Egypt, and there were like kids in the streets till 2 a.m., right? So it's something that we just gotta break that habit of, how much sleep do we actually need? But people in Egypt are up till 2 and they're fine. Well, are they? They're not fine. I mean, talk about academics in Egypt compared to America, there's a huge difference, right? So we came here because we want a different life, so we should have different habits, right? So that's something that I definitely, it sounds silly, but a principal in a family meeting, and I'm sitting here saying, what's your bedtime, you know? But I am serious about it. The other thing that I struggle with too, or not struggle with, but I ask as soon as we have some disciplinary issues at school is, what kind of parenting style do you have, right? Because more than ever, I'm seeing a lot of gentle parenters, right? Where out of love, they over-explain every single thing to their kids. I want you to brush your teeth. I'm sitting here explaining to you the reason why you should brush your teeth. That's lovely. Connect with your kids. But sometimes you need to just be able to say, do as I say and do it now, because I am the person of authority in your life. Because if you can't do that, and you're with them 24/7, and you are literally the person that the Bible tells them to listen to, honor your father and mother, we look like fools at school trying to tell them, obey. They're like, but why? And you're like, why? Why? And then I sound ridiculous when I say, because I said so. But there has to come to a point where I don't need to explain to your kid why they should line up in a straight line, because there's no explanation other than because you should. It's done. I mean, there has to be, even though we want to build critical thinkers who ask questions, who are intrigued, who are curious, you know what the problem is? We've created that, but we've created overly critical thinkers, amazing, curious children that we forgot to teach obedience. Like, don't talk back. Obey first, ask later, right? It's not to say you shouldn't ask questions. It's to say when to ask questions, right? There's a level of obedience that should be expected. And if you're like, well, I can't teach my kid obedience because they go to a school where they're teaching them this and this and this, then question the school you're sending them to. Like, why are you sending your kids to schools that you can't tell them, trust the adults at the school you're in? The adults are there with them 8 hours a day. If you don't trust the adults, then work double jobs to send them to a different school, my friends. I'm being so honest, but I think that's the problem. We are so scared of the adults that are around our children. We're teaching them not to listen to adults. And then what did we create? Little kids who don't listen to adults. And then you wonder why it's affecting you at home. You told them that. You actually preached it. You said, don't trust every adult in your life. Well, why are you putting them around adults they can't trust? Right? So we have wonderful critical thinkers, but they're emboldened in questioning every little thing they're being asked, right? And I'm not talking about, like, my experience is not just from our school. By God's grace, we have an incredible group of students, but I'm talking about in general, what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, especially in public school, if I'm being very honest and frank, and I'm not trying to, this is not an advertisement, it's just the truth. Okay, it's gonna sound like it though. Routines. School is so structured, by the way. We got 45-minute periods, the time ends, they're moving to different classes, they have a schedule. It is so routine, and that's why it's successful. Because children thrive on routine. They thrive on boundaries. They need to be told because they are a child and they shouldn't have autonomy over every little thing in their life. They should have routines. But if they have routines at school and they don't have it at home, they are struggling with routines at school because it's so fluid at home that try to giving them a strict routine at school, it's tough, right? So in order to continue that, take advantage of that your kid can follow a schedule. Take advantage of the fact that your kid is capable of following a routine and continue that at home. Have consistent wake-up time. Like a middle schooler should have an alarm. Sometimes it blows my mind that middle schoolers are still being awoken by their own parents. It's like, you're 12. My kids are 7 and 8. I do not go upstairs. The alarm clock goes, and they're awake, and they're brushing their teeth, they're coming down, and you know what? It's natural consequences. If they're not down in time for breakfast, they're having it to eat to go. They can't make their own breakfast. They can't enjoy whatever they want, right? So it's just, that's the routine, and they know that, and it's consistent. So when you're wondering why they're having a hard day at school, well, did you scream your head off getting them to it? Well, yeah, they're gonna have a rough morning. They just got yelled at because both of you are now having a rough morning, trying to get them out of bed. Well, we're gonna see it. We know which kid got yelled at this morning. We don't have to ask them. We could see it in their face. When they come in, they're like, did you get yelled at this morning, Yeah, how was your morning getting up? Did you have your breakfast? You didn't eat. I could see it in your face. Well, how are we gonna do our job as a school if your kid just got screamed at, didn't have breakfast, didn't have sleep, was just on their phone for 4 hours last night, and you're expecting me to be entertaining enough? Like, I'm not. I don't care how funny I am. They're not paying attention to me or to their teachers because their YouTube shorts are way more entertaining, right? Motivation. I have so much to say about this and might not be the easiest one to accept. Stop bribing your kids. Stop bribing them to do the bare minimum, to just do what is expected of them. Like if they are 12, I don't know what the average, I'm trying to read the room. They should be doing chores because they live in that house, not because they're gonna get $1, not because they're gonna get to go, do whatever. They should just do it because that's the expectation, because otherwise they won't be fed. Basically, oh, you want a clean plate? Wash it. Period. Why? Why are you saying, what, you really? That sounds like military. No, that sounds like successful adults. And we are gonna struggle at school to help you raise a decent human being if every time you want your child to do something, you say, here's a carrot. Because you don't want schools that do that, right? And we don't do that. And I know some schools do, but I ask you to question that school that you're in. If every classroom has a treasure box, so the kid can just sit and write a sentence, and if they wrote a sentence, good job, Jimmy, enter the treasure box, do you think that they're gonna grow up to be decent human beings at minimum, who are intrinsically motivated to do the right thing, who have integrity, who are faithful over what they're supposed to do without someone like watching? No, you know what we create? We create a society who has a phone and films themselves doing good acts. We create a society who has phones so they can go to work and say, look, I'm doing my job. Because they need a what? A little high five, a little like on Facebook when they do anything. And I hope we're on the same page. We kind of hate that. We're struggling as a generation to be like, what? I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. Why are you, I don't need a congratulations because I took out the garbage as a husband. And that's what you're supposed to do. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And we are battling that in schools. Our students, we had to undo, when we started a school last year, we had to undo a congratulations. I am not thanking students for lining up. I am not thanking students for getting into class and doing what they're supposed to. I'm not thanking students because you picked up your notebook and did what you're supposed to and then put it away at the end of class. I'm not. And I'm surely not giving them candy over it. Because guess what? You also don't want kids who are hyped up on sugar. So stop giving them candy. So what are you bribing your kids with? And then those are the same things that you're asking. How is my kid not responsible? You helped create that. I sound so awful. I'm sorry. I love you guys. I don't mean to be like, but I hope you're taking it positively. We're just in this together. I struggle with my kids too. So you're like, okay, if I can't bribe them, but they're not motivated, how do I help them? Well, that's tough. It depends which stage you're in and how far you've gone, right? If it's like I'm already got a big kid and I gotta undo what I've done, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, I'm not gonna lie. But I wanna remind you that you're in charge of a whole lot. You gotta realize it. You got the bank account, you got the house, you got the screen, you got it all. It is you. And I'm not trying to say that we're gonna be like authoritative, scary parents, but you also got the emotional connection and the love they're seeking. You are all of what they need. Your house can provide that. So if they love you because they want to connect with you and they enjoy connecting with you, then yeah, that should be the ultimate goal. So if you're like, okay, I need actual examples. Like I stated, it's just natural consequences for their actions. It's just like if you finish getting ready on time, you get to pick your breakfast. And the options are gonna be more. Otherwise, it's a muffin on the way to school, right? And it's the healthy kind, right? So if I'm trying to think of tasks that you struggle with, homework, right? Like, I really hope, first of all, that none of your kids get screen time during the week because they don't need it. Period. None. Zero. Zist. That's the expectation. But I know that that's not what's happening. But, they don't get their phone on the weekend if their schoolwork wasn't done during the week. Simple as that. You are in charge. It is your phone, actually. Under your name, under your contract, you pay for it. Unless your kid is in college, then good luck. I don't know. That's beyond my ability for advice right now. We're talking about kids under your roof, under your paycheck. So I'm just saying, intrinsic motivation is they get to have their privileges. But you need to remind yourself of what your privileges are at home. Your meal that you spent an hour cooking is actually a privilege because they can just have rice and beans. If they're not gonna be abiding by the family rules, they don't need to be fed delicious, wholesome meals that you spent an hour. If they can't respect you as a mother, as a father who spent an hour cooking, then sorry, you don't need to. You don't need to. Do you see where I'm going? Now again, don't worry, my kids are being fed just fine. But what I'm trying to say is you are offering so many privileges, and sometimes kids need to see what is a privilege and what is a right. I've had that conversation with my own son. I have emptied my son's room completely. And there was a mattress to just show him everything else is a privilege, in case you're confused. And you can earn it all back. But if you want to be part of this family, you follow this family's rules. And I said it just like that, with a smile. And we were sitting together at the table, and it was loving. But unfortunately, we have a generation of parents, I don't know if it's like a trauma from how we were parented with so much like iron fist, that we're trying to undo it, that we've gone a little too far, my friends, where there's no discipline, there's no consistency. We bribe our kids with instant gratification and then wonder why they can't pay attention at school. There's no limits to their screen times. There's no limits to when they access their phones. And trust me, the amount of dopamine hits they get from screens, because the screen that you were watching 40 years ago for, I don't know, Ramadan shows is where we were watching musalsalat, like the screen was not changing every 3 seconds, right? So you were not getting a dopamine hit watching, I don't know who the famous movie person is. Tell me a joke, right? Like Bakar, like it was not the same speed as Cocomelon, right? So yeah, they're getting dopamine hits. Did you notice that kids don't watch movies anymore? Have you noticed that? Do you know what they watch? They're called YouTube shorts. They're 30 seconds, and the entire movie is in 30 seconds. Like beginning, end, and middle and end. Why am I saying this? Is because, again, when a teacher is talking for 45 minutes, forget it. There is no way your kid caught it, because they're going through dopamine withdrawal. They are literally addicts. If they are on the screen, and you're like, no, my kid is good. You know, when I ask parents, okay, good, you have healthy boundaries with your phone? Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm like, great, how much does your kid get a phone? Oh, they only get it after they finish homework for like 2 hours. I'm like, oh my gosh, 2 hours a day? 2 hours before bedtime? Like, you think that kid can go to sleep, close their eyes and actually sleep, if the content they were watching, because again, it's not like they're on their phone checking their email, right? They're watching speed of lightning images, right? And some of them don't even get through the 30-second video, right? And then you're expecting that when they close their eyes, they're actually gonna sleep? No, these images are reviewed 1,000,000 times over, and God help us what they are. We're not even talking about what the content is. I'm just talking about the speed of the content. The content is a whole other level of wonder why there's bullying at school, wonder why there's sexual content coming up in conversations between 10-year-olds. Yeah, because that's all that is being fed. And I don't care what kind of blocking apps you have on your phone, your kid is more intelligent than you when it comes to screen times. They can hack it all. They can block it all, right? So best way to do it is just not to have it. But that's a whole other conversation. Okay. Oop. All right. Believe it or not, another conversation I have with parents when I'm noticing some behavior changes in students is, what are they eating? And we enforce healthy foods only in our school. Snack time and lunchtime. They call me the snack police. Believe it or not, Mona would even tell you. I'll rat her out. I have gone to some kids and I was like, oh, delicious Cheetos, right here, garbage. I'm not having you have food dye on my watch. You can eat that at home if your parents would allow it. Not here. Because guess what? Artificial colors, and then you're trying to tell me that that kid is going to pay attention to mathematical equations? Nope, not going to happen, right? But you're like, really? We all grew up on it. I am telling you, I promise you. First of all, I'm sorry that you grew up on junk food and you still want to do it to your kid. But if you grew up on junk food, then 40 years ago, junk food is not the same because they didn't even have those chemicals. Like, we didn't even know about red food dye, right? We were eating like kushari and fool and tamea, you know what I mean? They did not have that kind of stuff. So your Cadbury, whatever, chocolate was not the same stuff that they're eating now that is complete garbage. So you're like, really? The schools care? Well, I hope, first of all, your school cares. But again, if you're sending your kid to a school that doesn't care, question that, T. But next thing is, you should care. You should care because if your kid is not being successful at school, and you can't successfully answer, yes, they're sleeping well, yes, they're not getting enough screen, yes, they're eating well, you have not done your job. Because your school can't control that, those three things at home. They really can't. I mean, I can, maybe I could. Maybe I could start doing home visits and pantry checks, but that'd be a little invasive. But I'm already doing it at school, right? But other principals might not be able to do. They have big schools. You're not gonna have a principal walking around being like, what are you eating, right? And we shouldn't. Just don't send them with this stuff, right? Why are they eating Fruit Loops? Like, why are they, right? I mean, the advantage is if you send them with whatever you send them at school, that's what they're gonna eat. And there you go, you got 8 hours a day at least with healthy options. So believe it or not, there's a very strong trend between the kids that are not doing well and their diet. I mean, it's almost not even a correlation, but a causation. So if you're like, okay, well, what can we do? It's, well, okay, pack them leftovers. You guys all cook great meals. Pack them the leftovers. Okay, limit their sugars. Please give them vitamins because, man, kids get sick all the time and we're catching it, so please keep them healthy. So, and then don't send them with sugary drinks. If it's a habit to send juice every day at school, guess what? They're drinking juice daily. Why? They don't need it. Because you're gonna be a strict parent, AKA you're gonna have actual discipline in your house, you better connect with them. So when you bring out the, like, oh, I'm about to give you a discipline, you've loved them so much, you have zero guilt. Like, when I discipline my children, I am not guilty. Because I went out with you, I hung out with you, I played board games with you, I read to you every night before bed. So if I'm not gonna read to you today, that's the consequence. Like, not connecting with me to them is a consequence, because guess what? They actually like me. Ask yourself, do your kids like you? And forgive me because I'm sounding so mean, but I promise I love you guys and I want us all to be good parents, but put your phones down. When you're trying to connect with your kids and they're looking straight at you and we're just ourselves creating bad habits of scrolling as the kid is trying to talk to us, well, yeah. Your kids might love you, but they might not like you because you haven't connected with them. So then, yeah, when you're trying to discipline them, they don't care about your opinion. So, when we ask for your help, it will matter. If I have a parent that I know that kid loves their parent, when I tell them I'm gonna tell your parents, guess what? They're really sad because they don't want to disappoint their mom and dad because they love them. Or they're like, tell them. I don't care. Because they don't care. So which parent do we want to be? Talk about a school. I can't raise your kids by myself. I need partners. I need partners that the kids care about, that they don't want to disappoint, that they love so much because they want to go on that family trip together and they want to go out together and they want to bond together. And their biggest consequence would be to disappoint you. In order to do that, you get quality family time. You make eye contact when they're talking to you. I promise you that sounds so ridiculous because it sounds like the basics, but I see it all the time. Where we would be in a family meeting and the parent might say, I can't believe you did that. But they're not even looking at their kids. I'm like, can you? So I can't tell the parent because I don't want to embarrass them for their kids. I can't say, can you look at your kid? I say to the kid, give your mom eye contact, please. Right? But it matters. right? They're not just an inconvenience. They're literally how you're going to get to heaven. I just want to let you know. You don't get to go in without them. So if you're thinking you're here at church because you're going to get to heaven, they're kind of your ticket. Like, I'm like, see, I brought Bishop whatever. I'm going to get in because of them. Yeah, that's how we're going to get in. Conversations at dinner time. Do we even have dinner time anymore? Like, do we even have like the whole, everybody sitting at the dinner table talking? How was your day? Tell me one good thing that happened at school today. Tell me one friend you played with. Tell me something that really made you upset today. I could tell you're not okay. Do you even notice that your kid is not okay, or you're so consumed with your own life that you even can't tell your kid's emotions, right? So, again, if you're like, what is this lecturing situation? I'm telling you, it is hard for us as educators to do our job well if the kid doesn't have emotional stability and emotional availability. If they are not have a cup filled, it pours into school. They're giving attitude to us because something's going on at home. Because, yeah, sure, teacher could be mean, but you only see her 45 minutes, so why is that affecting you so much? It's not. It's the home. Stay connected. Ask about their friends. If I ask you today, if I literally bring a mic to your mouth and say, name one friend, name two, name three, can you? Can you name 3 friends of your kid? Do you know who they like to play with during recess, right? You need to know the stuff. Ask how their day went. Tell me about your kids' Friday. What do? They go on a field trip? Right? What do they do? Do you know? Where do they go? If I say, oh, they went on a field trip, where? And you don't know? That's not okay. I'm telling you, I don't care how old your kid is, that's not okay. Because you should know. That's your kid, right? Connect with their teachers. You should know their teachers' names. I promise you, a lot of parents don't know teachers' names. And that blows my mind, because I'm like, that person has a really big effect on your kid. Like a really big effect. They're with them every day. I don't care that they have 10, that's 10 names. That's not that many. You should know their names. So when they say Bob or Coach Bob or Miss Samantha did so-and-so, you're not like, who's that again? Or maybe you never hear their names because you don't talk about what they do at school, right? Most importantly, my friends, it's never too late. If you're seeing your kid and they're acting like horrible, horrible, horrible little creatures, and you're like, I think I've gone too far. It's too late, I can't get back. You must pray for your kids. And I challenge you, and I tell you, count the minutes. How many times do you pray for your kids a day? Do you pray for them? Do you pray with them? If you haven't started, start now. It's never too late. You have to model spiritual discipline. Do they even know that you pray? I'm not talking about Sunday liturgy, because that's wonderful. That's communal prayer. I'm talking about where you close your door and you pray and they know you're in there praying. They should know that. They should know you pray because you are their model. So when you're like, my kid doesn't even pray, I'm going to ask you, do you? Right? Do you pray for them? Do you pray your Bible? If your kid's not reading their Bible, yeah, they're not going to be great students because they don't have Christ. They're not connected to him. So they're not going to be great at anything. I don't care if they're successful. They're just not going to be great in the eyes of the Lord. Great, right? I could tell the difference between a prayerful student and not a prayerful student, right? Because the way they handle problems and things happen, and I say, do you want to pray with me? And that's what solves the problem, right? It's because they're prayerful. They eat it up. And most of our students are, because it doesn't matter if they've never prayed before, they are malleable because they're children. It's us adults that it takes a while, right, to change our habits. But kids, they want that. So applicable things, well, if you go to church together on liturgy days, ask them about the gospel. Let it be a habit. Like every day in the car when you're on your way back from church, be like, ooh, who can remember the gospel? My kids think it's like a competition. It's like, oh, I'm going to remember. I'm going to actually write it down because I'm going to know and he's not going to know. Okay? Talk about it. If you're like, I don't know what to talk to my kid about, create habits, create traditions, right? If your kid is not confessing, yeah, they're bottling up. They're bottling up, then they might explode, right? So, but if you're like, why, it's so hard to bring them to confession, well, do you? Let's just ask the hard questions. If you're not regimented with your confession, how can you ask your kid to be, right? But again, maybe in public school they won't care if your kid is confessing or not, but you know the effect of confession on your child, right? That it releases them from the burdens that they've been carrying. So allow it, help them, encourage them, make the appointment for them. So let's ask ourselves, are we raising resilient children? And by that, do I mean, do we delay gratification, or are we bribing them every step of the way? Do we congratulate them for the bare minimum of anything? Can they focus? Can they obey? And I get it. Now, that's a very hard one because most of us that are sending our kids, not most of us, most of people who are sending their kids to schools that they don't want to tell their kids to obey because not everything they're teaching is proper. I get it. But that's the problem that you're going to struggle with. You're going to have kids that don't obey because you taught them to. And then can they think deeply, or is their thought process interrupted because of all the videos they've watched? Consistency is required so that students can be successful at school. And consistency can only happen when home and school are aligned. That's how children can thrive. So, in order for you to have a child who's successful at school, they have to love learning. It can't be a burden. It can't be something that they're doing because they have to. It's generally a sense of curiosity that you created at home. They have self-discipline. They're not just doing the right thing because you're watching, but they're doing the right thing because you've had conversations about it. They have a stable household. That's why consistency is so key. Having routines and regimens. Not to say that you can't create flexibility where things can change, but absolutely wake-up time should be the same. It shouldn't be that just even the basics is up and down all the time. With that being said, that's all I have for today. I'm sorry if I was extremely harsh. That was not my intent. I just wanted to give you the raw opinions. So if we can quickly review some basic things, I just want to let you know that every time I have a meeting with parents that are enrolling, I tell them that sleep, eat, screen. Sleep, eat, screens. Do you have a bedtime for your kid? You must. It doesn't matter how old they are. Do you feed them healthy foods? Because I can't control that, right? I can control a lot in the school setting, but I really can't control the home. And then screens. I flat out say it should be 0 until the weekend. And in the weekend, it should still be monitored. And then I talk about intrinsic motivation because I think it's not very common even for schools to talk about intrinsic motivation, but like I said before, intrinsic motivation is not bribery. You don't bribe your kid for doing the bare minimum. You're expecting them to do the right thing because they should. And then you connect with your kid that they genuinely are very sad if they disappoint you. So they seek to do the right because they love you and they have a connection with you. And it mimics the relationship we have with our Father in heaven, right? When we are so close to the Lord, we no longer want to disappoint him. It's not a fear relationship, it's a love relationship. And we want to do right by him because we love him. I pray that we all have that relationship with our own children. With that being said, I was allowed to share a little bit at the end about our school. I just want to let you know whether you're interested in joining or not, or you can't come. I just want you to celebrate with us that we have an Orthodox school in our community. It is only the second one in the entire diocese, my friends, and it is going amazing because God is so good. We limit our class sizes to 12 students so we can actually care what your kid is eating. We care about everything. We don't just care about what they're eating, but we care about their mind, body, and soul. We have connections and deep relationships with each one of our students. We only have 77 total students in the entire K through 8 school. We are going to continue adding students, of course, but the classes will always maintain a 12-to-1 ratio for elementary, 16-to-1 ratio for middle school and high school. We are growing to 12th grade, surely. We are going to add a grade at a time. So if you're wanting a school that you can flat out tell your kids, obey blindly, then we'd welcome you to consider joining our school. You can scan the QR code and visit our website. We are in open enrollments. We only have 1 or 2 spots left in most of our classes because we've already filled kindergarten fully. And some of our classes still have 1 or 2 kids able to accept. Some grades are fully full, so I always ask, what grade is your kid when you say you're interested? Because I don't want to disappoint you. But it has been an absolute miracle to have my own children at that school. The teachers that God has sent are beyond my expectations, not only academically, but spiritually. And you could see God's hands working in our school. So if you've remembered nothing else, just remember to pray for our school and to pray that God continues to bless and add more Orthodox schools throughout our diocese. Thank you for allowing me to come and speak to you guys today.
Well, thank you so much, Caroline. Does anyone have any questions for Caroline or comments? Okay, I just wanted to take a few minutes and echo what Caroline said about the school. And I'm not advertising for the school, but I'm sharing my personal experience. It's a great opportunity for, for example, for my family to have a school that's extension to the house or to the home and the church. And just making the transition very easy. I feel like it's protecting my child growing up from everything happening in the society right now. So can't say enough good things about it, and it's such a great blessing. So thank you for all you do there too. All right, with that, we thank you so much for coming and talking with us today, and we're gonna take a break until 8:30. We'll be back for Tasbih at 8:30. Oh, you have some, I'm sorry, she has a question.
So I get a lot of patients that deal with bullying at school. And the parents and the teachers, they're not on the same page at all. The teachers are expecting one thing, the parents are telling their kids to react or respond in a certain way. I mean, how do you deal with it at school, and what do you want the parents to be telling their children who are getting bullied?
So it's going to be very different than public school because we don't have any bullying, zero, none. We will never allow it. We don't have it because if there's any ounce of even a look that is demeaning, a teacher will literally point it out, bring it to administration, the parent will be notified, and it will be dealt with. So it's different, but I know it happens. I'll say be your biggest advocate, your child's biggest advocate. Tell the parents they need to say something, and I would not be heated. I would be very calm, but I would make the time and effort to listen to your child. That's first and foremost, so you can hear about the bullying immediately. So if you're having those dinner table conversations, if you're noticing your kid is coming home sad, those things require connection first and foremost. Now, if you are noticing it and your kid is saying it, what are you doing about it as a parent? An email is not sufficient. I would go to school the very next day. I'd show up. I'd be there. I'd be advocating. I'd be speaking. I'd be pulling my kid if I need to. Do not leave your kid in an environment where you have to tell them, I can't believe you're not standing up for yourself. That's a child. You should not expect a child to have to defend themselves. So if they're not feeling that the teachers are doing something and they're not safe, then you need to advocate. Continue to do so. But also, Now that's if it's a true bullying, and you would only know if you have connection with your kid. But you also know your kid. Are they the instigator? Are they actually the one who's flat out like fabricating stories? It happens, unfortunately. So you just gotta be present enough to know, and then you gotta be advocating until it completely ends. I mean, to the point where a kid can move a class, the other kid, right? You have options. But yeah, definitely you have to be in tune. And that's another thing. Bullying now can also be very like cyberbullying. So you gotta be able to have rules where your kid has to charge their phone in like your room. So then you go and you review every little thing that took place, because it's not fair to expect that your kid knows how to stand up for themselves in toxic situations. It's not the right thing. And then that's when parents resort to, if someone hits you, hit them back. And then you're like, really? That's what you told your kid? So now we have fights between 10-year-olds at school, and I'm pulling and prying kids' fists in. But you created that because you didn't know how to teach your kid, or you didn't stand up for your kid. You didn't come in and fight for your kid. So we had no clue. And a lot of times you think that you don't want to burden the school because you don't want to seem like a crazy parent, but I would rather a calm email or a conversation from a parent that says, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm informing you, can we be a partner on this, rather than had no clue and now it escalated and you're fired up, but you never told me. Like, how can I help you as an administrator? How can I help you as a teacher if I wasn't well aware of the situation? Now, again, it's different because in our school, again, when you have 12 kids and one teacher, you're going to see it. I mean, you're going to see every little thing. But I get it. In other schools, it might be hard. It might be after it's happened and it's been persistent for a while. And unfortunately, parents don't even know until it's too late. And a kid is trying to, frankly, commit suicide. I'm sorry to, sound so depressing, but it's because they don't have connection with their kids. So they don't even see that there's been, like, your kid is not eating well. Your kid is, wearing hoodies. Your kid is covering their arm. Like, be part of your kid's life so you can see those trends. So
this is great. Actually, to build on that, is there a certain age or age group that bullying is the worst, just for us parents to kind of watch over it? For like when bullying is prominent or is more common.
she's saying, when is bullying prominent? At age, like what ages are bullying starting to be an issue? Honestly, it could be at any age, but definitely like when they're aware of their social importance. So it happens probably around 3rd grade, where they're more prone to being embarrassed. You'll notice it in like a 7 or 8 year old, or they're starting to not want to be, Mom, don't do that in front of my friends. So once that starts to happen, bullying is more likely to happen because they actually care what the friend said, but when their self-image, things like that. So it's so easy. Even if bullying was happening younger, they might not even notice, or not care as much. It's still he's not playing with me, or he took my toy. They're not seeing it as a personal attack. But once their personal image is established, it's the way it's perceived initially, and then it gets worse as they get older. Middle school is the worst time. Yeah.
If I have to say an age to this, I would say between 9 to 13 is their worst reaction. Prior, like Carolyn said, it's not a big deal. They get over it really quickly. And middle school or late, elementary school girls specifically, it hits them so hard to the point where they're actually committing suicides. And they are. And cyberbullying is a big deal. I mean, they come to our clinic, panic attacks in all shapes and forms of panic attacks. Overdosing, she took a bottle of Tylenol and did this and that because her friend said something really bad about her. And a lot of it is not true, obviously. She's having, anxiety and depression because every day in the morning her friend says, this group of friends said this about you. So, I would say between 9 to 13. After 13, the reactions are a little bit more controlled, and they know that, oh, it's not true, my friends are not going to believe it. They're a little bit more mature. But between 9 and 13 is really hard, especially for girls.
Lord have mercy. All right. Any other questions? It was great. Yes. Thank you so much. We'll be back at 8:30.